Sunset on the canyon road, one arm out my window, left and didn't tell a soul. Where I'm headed, I don't know. Life is heavy lately.
So a very good morning, boys and girls. It's currently very AM. I'm full of coffee after a 10-hour night shift, and I thought I'd come out and have a play with my Micro Four Thirds camera at night. We'll come down to a familiar location with some lighthouses, but I've always wanted to come here in the dark and just see what we can do. So welcome to Paull. I've got the Olympus E-M1 Mark II and a very fast lens. Let's see what we can do. So this is my Olympus E-M1 Mark II, and on the front of it is the lens that we're going to be using to take some photographs with tonight. It's a Siriu, I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's a 16mm lens, so it's a full frame equivalent of a 32mm field of view, but it's a T1.2. It's not an F1.2, it's a T1.2, and that is the transmission value of the light that is reaching the sensor. Now, I've done some research around cine lenses such as this and how to convert T-stops to F-stops. There doesn't really seem to be much of a formula out there, but the best I can gather, this is around an F1.1. So it's a really fast lens, it lets in a lot of light, and it's a nice field of view for a full frame camera. So it's a nice field of view on my Micro Four Thirds setup. So let's go take some photographs of the lighthouses behind me and just see what we can do with a nice wide, fast lens in the middle of the night. Man, you can really tell that autumn is just starting to bite now. It's quite cold and the wind's got a real chill to it. I'm glad I'm out tonight. It's nice and quiet, and I think I've got a photograph set up. So I'm using the cine lens. We're at T1.2, which is going to be really difficult to express this in T numbers because I'm so used to F numbers, but this is at T1.2. I've focused on lighthouse. We've got some out of focus lights just across the River Humber from Grimsby and Immingham and all the docks across there. We're at 4 seconds, T1.2, ISO 200, and here we go. The first photograph, let's see how it turns out. So, there's the first photograph taken with this lens, and I'm really quite impressed with it. Obviously, I'm shooting this on Micro Four Thirds, so one of the benefits to that sensor size is when shooting at wide apertures like this, you're letting all of the lighty goodness inside, but you're also getting a little bit more depth of field than you would get on full frame. So I was quite pleased to see it's such a wide aperture. You can get all of the lighthouse in focus, and everything in the background just dissolved into a creamy, blurry out of focus thing that I've been led to believe recently is about all there is to photography. Side note, I'm not a fan of blurry backgrounds. If you are, that's fine. I'm not a fan of blurry backgrounds. I shoot a lot of landscapes. I like a lot of front to back focus. I use Micro Four Thirds for the depth of field. That's a video for another day, but yeah, I was quite pleased with that. Now, there is one thing that I've wanted to try with photography at night time in the past, and that's taking a HDR photograph, otherwise known as bracketing. So take one photograph for a base exposure, underexpose another one, overexpose the other one, and blend them all together and just see what you can create. And I kind of feel like we're out tonight, so we might as well give that a go. So the next photograph that I'm going to take is going to be a HDR. It's going to be a 3-shot bracket. I have absolutely no idea how it's going to turn out, but whatever happens, I'm going to show it to you. I'm really hoping this nice fast lens on this Olympus E-M1 Mark II is going to save it justice. Alright, so I've got something of a photograph composed. It's probably not the best composition I've ever done, but just for a test and just to see how this works, I think it's going to turn out fine. So the base photograph here, remember this is going to be a 3-shot bracket, is 5 seconds, ISO 200, and I believe, yes, we are still at T1.2, so nice and fast, loads of light. And again, we're just experimenting and we're just going to play around and see what the end result looks like. Like I say, I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but it's all part of the photographic process and it's all part of the fun of doing this, isn't it? It's trial and error, trying something different. So let's take the photograph and I'll show it to you. So this is the composition set up on the camera, just a nice simple sort of thing. We've got the lighthouse on this rule of thirds line over this side, and it's just looking back towards the city of Hull. We have some lights down there. We're just going to have the grass in the foreground fluttering about. So let's go ahead, take this bracket. So the first one is going to be the properly exposed photograph, I'm hoping. There we go. The second one is the second one is the properly exposed. The first one is underexposed, and the third one is going to be really, really overexposed. So I will show the final image to you. Well, so far I've been really quite impressed with how this lens is handling this nighttime stuff. It's not something I ever thought I'd be able to do, especially at an aperture like this, and I'm really looking forward to the winter months now because I've got some great plans for some astrophotography with this lens. Now, the third and final photograph that I want to take, I want to test a couple of things. A little bit of lens flare, and B, I just want to see what it looks like with a bit of a sun star. So I've actually stopped this lens down a couple of stops. We're down at T4 at the moment, so I'm getting about a 50-second exposure for this next photograph. There is a bench behind me and a lighthouse in the background, and we're just going to look straight down at the lighthouse. Bench is a bit of a foreground interest, the white chalk path as a leading line, lighthouse at the end, big light, and let's just see what we can do in terms of a sun star. So I'll get the camera set up and I'll take the photograph for you. So for this photograph here, I've actually turned the live view boost mode on the Olympus E-M1 Mark just so you can see the composition. So you can see up there we have the blinking light, which is the lighthouse, which is hopefully going to sun star a little bit at this slightly narrower aperture. And we have on the rule of thirds point here, we have the bench. Now, if you're wondering how I focus on this, I use this camera here, which has a light on the top of it. I'll put it right against the bench and just basically zoomed in, if I can show you this, on the back of the camera. So you touch that, press the little magnifying glass, and that zooms in, and I just use the light to manually focus as best as I could. So let's set this up. So we've got 50 seconds, ISO 200. We're down at T4 using a 2-second timer. And here we go. Let's take this final photograph. Well, that was a bit of fun, and it's something that I'm looking forward to doing a little bit more of now we're getting some sort of darker skies here in the UK now at this time of year. If you're interested in this lens, it is a Siriu Nightwalker. I have it in the metal grey, and it's the 16mm T2 lens. I'll leave a link for it down in the description below the video. If you want to check one out, you know, let's pick one up. It's a nice little lens. It's well made, it's well constructed, it's all metal. It's got a fair heft weight to it, so it does feel a little bit, it's a bit front heavy on this camera, but it's something that I can live with. It's not too bad. It's just one of them things. I'm used to the lighter micro four thirds Olympus specific stuff, and they all feel really well balanced on the lens, but this isn't really a photography lens, it's more a videography lens, but it's just something I thought I'd go out and play with this evening. So thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up and a like. It does help the video, and it obviously brings new viewers to see my content, and that's what I do this for, is just to broaden the horizons and bring micro four thirds to the masses. If you enjoyed it a little bit more than that, there is a subscribe button below me if you'd like to see more micro four thirds nonsense from myself every single week. So until the next video, I'm going to love you and leave you and go home because I'm really cold. The caffeine is now worn off. I think it's time to go to bed. Good night.